Hey guys, it's Sam, and today I want to do a quick book chat on books versus video games. So as you guys probably know, because I talk about them pretty often here on my channel, I adore video games. They are my second love. If I'm not reading to spend my spare time, I'm most likely playing video games. And for the longest time, growing up especially, I always heard bad things about video games, that video games were like vapid and shallow, and just first-person shooters, which had no storyline, and really smart people read, and all this kind of stuff, which may have been true back then, most likely not, because there were a ton of really amazing video games back in the day that were like way more mind-blowing than a lot of things that I've even read. But that was the trend. But I feel like as games have progressed and have gotten so much more immersive, and RPGs are a huge thing now, so you can kind of be a character in a really rich world and story, that's kind of changing now. And I think that's why for the last year or so I've spent equal time playing games and reading books. Before, for a while there, I was only reading books mostly. I kind of taken a break from video games and stuff. Then I got back into it and I was like, wow, my need for stories can be met now by video games. So like I said earlier, yes, there have always been games that have been amazing. Games like Myst and Riven, which were like still mind-blowing to me, are games that are immersive, story-driven, like really take high intelligence with the puzzles and everything else. Like, those have always been really great. Really interesting worlds. Like, I would love to have books on those. Were those based on books? I don't think so. Maybe they were, though, because they were just crazy and I loved every second of it. But then there was that kind of lull where I was playing mostly racing games. I played a lot of Need for Speed back in the day in like high school and college. So like racing games, Tony Hawk games, Tony Hawk Underground, which had a story, but like not really. So a lot of those games. And then I started getting into the Final Fantasy games, which those are a huge like theatrical experience, stories. But again, you're playing a character that's not really like you're not really deciding things about them or like making decisions and stuff. But then when I started getting into college and after college is when I started playing RPGs, and I was like, this is amazing. So yes, I started playing games like Skyrim, stuff like that, continued to play Final Fantasy, started playing games like Assassin's Creed, which again is like historical fiction and amazing. I've played all those games and they're like my loves. But again, like not necessarily, you're not the character, whatever, but immersive worlds, really scratches the like historical fiction itch. I'm so hyped for Assassin's Creed Origins because I've wanted to be an ancient Egypt for so long and now it's going to be. So yes, I have a lot of feelings about all of those, which still aren't quite some of these stories that we are now getting. I'm going to use this chance to talk about Bioware. It's coming. So I started getting into like Skyrim and stuff, but I still wasn't feeling really immersed in Skyrim. Skyrim for me, one is like really overhyped, sue me. Two is like this crazy world. I love the lore, but like you as a character I don't feel attached to. Like I don't feel attached to my character in Skyrim. Maybe it's because you're playing in first person and you don't get to see them and you don't get to hear them talk, but I didn't feel really attached to any of the emotions. You don't have like the friendships or anything like that you have in some other games like Bioware Games. So Bioware Games started happening in my life a couple years ago, and now I'm like, video games can fill the role of books for me in that way, because books are immersive. You can feel yourself almost as the main characters, even if it's made in third-person perspective. You're in it with the character. That's how I feel playing Bioware games. So Mass Effect, the original trilogy, we do not talk about Mass Effect Andromeda here because Mass Effect Andromeda is like fan fiction, alternate universe. It's not real. It's kind of like the Avatar movie. We don't talk about it. But those and the Dragon Age games all feel so immersive, and they're like a little cake delivered right to me. It's like, look, you can play a story. You can be that person. You can make decisions that affect things later. It's like a choose your own adventure book. It's amazing. So those kinds of stories and that kind of lore is like what I'm constantly chasing now, because both are great. Books and video games are both amazing. But the feeling of being in a video game and like living a story is so great. It's as great as a good book. It really is. And I feel like a lot of people don't give them still the credit they deserve. Games like Horizon Zero Dawn, which I feel like is a little bit overhyped. I've enjoyed it. I haven't quite finished it yet. It's not the level of what I was expecting it quite, but games like Horizon Zero Dawn and the Zelda games, which again, you're not playing as like the character, I get it. But, Bioware games, RPGs, The Witcher, which are based on books, and they have some problems. They have some problematic content. There's a lot of male gaze stuff going on and not fully fleshed out female characters. I hope the next part of that video game series will bring in some more of that, because I have a sense that the main character in the future will be a lady. But anyway, getting on a tangent. That is why I feel like I've been reading less over the last year, because I can scratch the itch of stories, and really great stories, really fully fleshed out stories with video games. The video games that are coming out now are just mind-blowing. Games like The Last of Us, which has been out for a while, and like I said, the Final Fantasies, the Assassin's Creeds, the Bioware games, no matter what you say about Bioware, they still do a really good job with their stories, except for, no, we don't talk about it, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Bioshock, all of those really great games can fill that story void for me. So, yes, books and video games have an equal spot in my heart, and I'm not even sorry about it. So comment down below, let me know your thoughts on books and video games. Are you a gamer as well as a book lover? Do you feel like it kind of bleeds over into both? Like, how do you feel about some of the games that I mentioned? All this exciting stuff. Comment down below and let me know. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you other guys soon. Bye!